Friday, April 14, 2023. Today on The Young and the Restless, Sharon meets baby Aria. Jack makes an appeal to Christine, and Kyle and Summer are at odds. At Newman Enterprises, Nate and Victoria make out passionately on the desk in the office. At Crimson Lights, Sharon embraces Mariah, who can't wait for her mom to hold her little one. Sharon already loves her with her whole heart. They hug again. Sharon asks where Tessa and the baby are. Mariah teases that she sent them to the tack house, and then says she will text her to come in. She wanted to make sure no one there was wearing strong perfume or hacking up a lung. Sharon urges her daughter to hurry up and bring her in. Just then, Tessa enters with the baby in a stroller. Meet area porter Copeland. Sharon declares her perfect. Sally arrives at the door and smiles as she watches them. At the Abbott house, Nick asks if Summer wants something to eat. She doesn't, but says having him there is nice. Nick will be there as long as she needs him. Summer doesn't know when she'll hear from Kyle. She supposes he's at the police station with Diane, and she's his top priority now. Kyle appears and says that's not true. Summer's surprised to see her husband, who describes being at the booking with his shell-shocked mother. Nick knows Jack will do what he can to help her, and then leaves them to talk. He assures Summer he's just a phone call away. Christine and Jack meet at society, and he tells her arresting Diane was a gross miscarriage of justice. Chris can't discuss the case. Jack suggests she focus on Stark. Chris says the evidence points to Diane. Jack can't understand what evidence she could possibly have on his fiancée. He accuses her of jumping to a conclusion. Diane, you honestly think she's capable of killing Somion? Christine tells Jack there are some irrefutable facts. Jack knows Diane is not guilty. They're soon going to realize it won't hold up. He concedes Diane and Phyllis were in conflict, but says it's outrageous to believe she killed her. Christine can't reveal anything about the case. Jack is scared and outraged. He wants Chris to slow this thing down. Chris tells him the arrest was made on strong investigative work. Jack implores her to focus on Stark and get Diane out of that cell. Chris has to follow protocol. She'll look into the loose ends, but until something turns up to exonerate Diane or point to some other person. That's all she can offer right now. In the hotel room alone, Phyllis agonizes, I'm sorry. Oh my God, what have I done? Nick arrives at Newman and spots Audra outside of the office. They chat while inside. Victoria and Nate are still at it on the desk. Audra tells Nick if he's looking for his sister, she's in her office. Nick knocks on the door and tries it. Nate and Victoria scramble to get dressed and act natural. She lets her brother in and says she and Nate were just having a drink. She offers him one. Nate gives Nick his condolences and exits. Victoria hands Nick his bourbon and asks about the memorial service. Nick doesn't want to talk about that right now and asks, "What are you thinking?" Victoria plays dumb. Nick tells her to stop, you and Nate. Whatever was happening in this office. In Crimson Lights, Sharon has the baby on her lap. Adam comes upon Sally watching, and they marvel over the way babies fill your heart. Sally teases, "Look at you getting all poetic on me." Adam says he's been there, and she'll experience it soon herself. They decide to go in and meet the new baby. Sally and Adam offer their congratulations, and he teases that the newborn will get the best lullabies ever. Sally fawns over Aria and asks Mariah and Tessa how it feels to be mothers. They say it's like a miracle and their greatest dream come true. At the Abbott house, Kyle wants to know how Summer's doing. She's exhausted, but it was worth it. Kyle says she did a great job. Phyllis would have loved it. Summer will wake up each day wishing she were still there, but she was smiling down on them today. She thanks Kyle for standing by her. She can't imagine what he's feeling right now. Kyle admits he didn't see his mother's arrest coming. He laments her being locked up for something she didn't do. Summer shakes her head. You really still think that? Even now? Kyle says that of course he believes his mother is innocent. It's tragic, and it's disgusting, but Jeremy Stark is the only one responsible for what happened to Phyllis. Summer thinks they were working together and points out they have a strong case against Diane. Kyle argues Stark framed her. Summer declares that he's too close and can't see her mother for who she is. I have to believe that Diane is the reason my mom is dead. At the hotel, Stark enters and complains to Phyllis. Why are you still here? Phyllis had to see how her children felt about her. I had to see. Stark hollers that they are adults now. Phyllis becomes emotional over the pain and regret in their voices. I can take that away. They'll forgive me. I know they will. At society, Jack tells Christine that Diane has wanted nothing more than to re-establish her relationship with her son and grandson. Why would she throw it all away to get back at an old foe? He insists Stark set her up. Pristine warns that Diane has a reputation for running, and she may not get bail. If Stark set her up, he did a very good job. Jack is certain he'll be found out. Elena arrives at Crimson Lights and joins Sharon, Mariah, Tessa, and the baby. She's introduced to Aria, and Mariah is happy she's getting to meet everyone. Elena coos that she's perfect and the mummies are glowing. Tessa doesn't think she could have done it without her advice. You totally calmed my nerves. Elena declares the three of you are meant to be together. They hug. At Newman, Nick rails at Victoria that there was lipstick on Nate's collar. She missed a button on her shirt. And, what the hell is going on with your hair? Is that the way you normally wear it? Victoria fumes. Fine. You got me. Nick snarks, you think. He starts in that she's making a terrible mistake. He is in a relationship, Vic, with my friend. Victoria points out he's no saint. Nick wonders what Nate's angle is. Victoria says if he had an ulterior motive, she'd see it. Nick reminds her she didn't with Ashland. Victoria tells him never to mention his name again. She's not interested in his judgment. He had a relationship with Sally, and he told her to stay out of it. Will you please show me the same courtesy? She implores him to keep her private life private and dismisses him. Nick drops her files on her desk and advises her to brush her hair. At the Abbott mansion, Kyle insists his mother is not capable of poisoning someone just to get them out of the way. Summer argues her mother isn't just someone and reminds him that she framed Phyllis in the past for arson and let her go to prison. Our moms bring out the worst in each other. She thinks Diane was pushed past her limit and snapped. She wishes Phyllis hadn't pushed Diane, but she did. Diane was done with her mom. Summer reminds him his mother wanted to strangle her mom to death. Kyle says it was a figure of speech. Summer says it's so clear to her what happened. You need to open your eyes at the hotel. Jeremy tells Phyllis not to think for a second that she can go back. What does she think will happen when they find out she faked the whole thing? Phyllis said they'll forgive her. Diane's kid forgave her. This has only been a couple of days. Stark reminds her they're in this together. He's not about to let her blow everything up over some stupid sentiment. Phyllis says her kid's feelings aren't some stupid sentiment. Jeremy suggests she get these thoughts out of her pretty little head before something happens to her pretty little head. Phyllis roars, you think you scare me? Is that what you think? Then I'm scared of you. You think you can give me orders and tell me what to do. You have no idea who you're dealing with at the Abbott house. Kyle asks Summer to let this play out, and she'll see that his mother will be cleared and released. She wouldn't kill her. She isn't capable. He doesn't want Harrison to hear these horrible things about his DD, and asks Summer to keep an open mind. Summer will do what she can to protect Harrison, but they have to have a cover story. We don't know how long it's going to be until Diane comes back, if ever. Nick finds Nate at Society and snarks, I thought I'd find you here. Nate asks, why's that? Nick guesses he's taking time to figure out what to say to Elena before he heads home. Nate plays dumb. Nick says he already played that game with Victoria and he's not doing it again. He doesn't know if it's a fling and doesn't care. He just wants to make sure there's no agenda. Nate says work couldn't be better. Nick bets. He recaps Nate's betrayal at Chancellor Winters and informs him his credibility is shot. Nate informs Nick his personal time is his personal business. Nick says, sure it is, until it's my business. Elena walks up and pecks Nate's cheek and asks what the two of them are talking about. At Crimson Lights, Tessa can't get over how adorable the baby is. Sharon coos too and then asks Mariah if everything is okay. Mariah just can't believe the news about Phyllis. Sharon says the people she cared about are in so much pain. Mariah notes it feels weird to be happy right now. Sharon reassures her. The baby gurgles and Sharon says Aria agrees with her. On the patio, Sally gushes to Adam about the precious little girl. Adam thinks she's falling in love with the idea of having a daughter. He thanks her again for asking him to go to her appointment. He agrees a daughter would be nice. Sally muses that finding out the gender will make this all the more real. Adam cannot wait until they have a newborn of their own. At Society, Nate tells Elena that Nick didn't stop by for a friendly visit. She asks, oh, what's going on? Nate says he seems to share her belief that he's consumed by power, and he's sick of hearing it. Nick says the truth hurts when you don't want to hear it. Nick tells Elena she looks beautiful and adds, Nate's a lucky guy, before storming out. Elena asks Nate what that was all about. Jack arrives at the Abbott house to a frantic Kyle. He says Summer believes Diane killed Phyllis, and he's caught between his mother and his wife. He worries his marriage won't survive. Jack vows they'll clear Diane's name and put this all behind them. Kyle says Mom has to come home soon. Jack vows he'll do everything in his power to prove Diane's innocence. They won't give up until they uncover the truth. In the hotel, Phyllis informs Jeremy that she's not an amateur and she's not easily manipulated. If I have a problem with somebody, they get it. She warns if he's half as smart as he thinks he is, he'll get out of her way. Stark grabs her as she tries to get past. He's not going back to prison, so she needs to do what she's supposed to do. Phyllis retorts that she's not taking orders from him. Stark roughs her up and asks if this is some sort of a game. She hollers that it's her life. Stark yells that she's dead and she'd better keep it that way, or so help me God, I'll kill you myself. Got it? Next on The Young and the Restless, Adam comes clean to Victor. Please note that if you purchase something by clicking on a link within this story, we may receive a small commission of the sale. Missed today's episode? Catch up via Paramount+.